We have a motion. John Paxton.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state so by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Okay, public comment on non-agenda items. Is there anything, Emily, to read in?
Yes. First comment is Cliff Kohlmeyer. Last week, the architect of the element canceled a meeting we had scheduled to talk about the CRA's L&M Street project. This, despite a commitment by the developer at last month's CRA hearing to meet with the residents. Separately, the CRA director pulled out of her scheduled appearance at Herman Robinson's weekly commissioner's Zoom call. Attempts at a dialogue once again rebuffed. Public support for this project will depend upon the CRA's willingness to engage proactively with the community. After all, there may be a good reason to sell properties for $3.8 million that cost taxpayers $4.2 million to acquire. That's a $1.4 million gift to a developer who will likely receive 10 years of tax abatement. And replacing historic homes in the Old Town Historic District with a 4-story apartment complex may be consistent with the city's established historic preservation design guidelines, but to a reasonable person, these might remain open questions. Yet from the very beginning, the taxpayers and residents have had no answers and no meaningful opportunity for input on this project, for example, in how the RFP was drafted. The success of the project will depend on public support, and to that end, we are asking that the CRA provide a substantive public workshop or charrette to evaluate the best use of downtown parcels in question. The forum should be mediated by an independent certified urban planner, open to the public, and attended by the CRA board. Comment 2, from Cliff Kohlmeyer as a member of the Downtown Jewel Neighborhood Association. Monday, November 3rd, 2020 meeting of the Downtown Jewel Neighborhood Association. Motion by John Faust, President, seconded by David Savage, Vice President, and carried by unanimous support. Resolved that because it is public money that is being spent on the L&M Street project, we as neighbors should have a significant say in what is built on the property. It is incumbent on the city and the CRA to provide a substantive public workshop or charrette that is open to the public and mediated by a certified urban planner. Next comment from John Faust. At the Downtown Jewel Neighborhood Association first Monday meeting in November 2020 regarding any new construction project at the property of South M and First Avenue South, I made a motion, our neighborhood association, to support a public workshop conducted by an unbiased planner to discuss the project, asking that the developer will be present and available to answer questions. Next public comment from Diana Gonzalez at 917 South End. Hello, my name is Diana. I've been a resident at 917 South End Street, Lake Worth Beach for 5 years now, and I've been so proud to call this city my home. The new developments being built and organized by our CRA are turning out beautifully and giving a whole new and more upscale feel to our city. I'm so grateful for the vision of our CRA leaders and team. They have helped make Lake Worth what it is today. Let's continue to make changes as we can all only hope to evolve and grow. Thank you. Next comment, Christopher McVoy. Could you please clarify in your public remarks, clarify the total cost for Site 1 properties, including the sources of funding? Thank you. In the recording on October 20th, CRA meeting at 1 hour, 22 minutes and 30 seconds, Board Member Copeland asked for the clarification on the cost of the properties. At 1 hour, 23 minutes and 8 seconds, Ms. Oliva stated that the total cost of the properties for Site 1 was $3.6 million. Final comment on non-agenda items sent in by a group of citizens: Cliff Kohlmeyer, Catherine Kohlmeyer, Tom Conboy, Richard Stowe, Ann Fairfax, Sue Welch, David Welch, Christopher McVoy, David Sims, Betty Rush, Kimberly Stokes, Shalag Dufault, and Ginny Powell. Honorable CRA Board, we write to you as citizens of Lake Worth Beach and neighbors of the proposed project and ask for an opportunity for meaningful, substantive public input on this project. To be clear, we are asking for the CRA and/or the City of Lake Worth Beach to engage for the purposes of a professional, neutral, and mutually agreed upon AICP certified urban planner with experience in public meetings and charrettes to conduct a public meeting charrette that would allow Lake Worth Beach residents to share ideas and goals for the downtown, in particular for the properties that have been aggregated between L and M streets. We further ask that provision be made for capturing the ideas and goals gathered at this workshop, and that these and any other information received be compiled by the engaged planner into a public report to be submitted to the CRA and the city. We ask that the negotiations with the developer be suspended until a public workshop as described takes place. So thank you for your consideration. That's all for public comment on non-agenda items.
Mr. Chair, if I could just, David Tulsa's Board
Thank you,
Attorney.
David. Yep.
For purposes of the record, I just want to confirm that there is a physical quorum present at the hatch for this meeting of the CRA board members. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Let's move on to the consent agenda. We're going to take these in order one at a time, given that a few of the board members have expressed a conflict. So if I could have a motion on item A of the consent agenda, which is new downtown trash and recycling receptacles. We have a motion?
I'll second it.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. B, wayfinding permitting assistance, change order number 1. Can I get a motion?
I move approval.
Can we have a second? A second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
And just for the record, I believe that Mr. Rickards and
Yes.
Mr. Rickards is recusing himself from that item.
And Mr. Paxman. Or no, is he another item?
He's
Sorry. Okay. And on C, may I have a motion for C executive 2, execute 2 separate grant agreements between CRA and PBC Solid Waste Authority?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please state so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Right, and for C, Mr. Paxman recused himself.
Thank you.
Correct. Okay. On to the agenda. We're looking at action agenda item A, CRA interior improvement grant, 409 South Dixie Highway. This is Chris.
Hey, Christopher Bros. Can you all hear me out there?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Again, Christopher Bros, Lake Worth CRA. This is our first CRA commercial interior grant application for this fiscal year. It's for 409 South Dixie Highway, which is a kind of like a strip shopping center if you drive by, but it's actually office space and doctor space within that building. Earlier this year, we received this application. Actually, in April this year, we received the application for assistance to build out the interior of this building, to build out the interior of this building from new tenants that are going in. The new tenants are opening a business called Gentle Pet Crossing, which is a pet cremation service. Since April, actually since late last year, they've been gutting this building, making a new office space, a new medical space, and also assisting what was a former chiropractor, helping them to relocate as well. Since early this year, they've renovated 1,800 square feet of space within the building and modernized it. However, as I said, the application to us was submitted earlier this year, which was actually last fiscal year. Our grant was not able to fund their project at that time because we were out of grant funding for last fiscal year. So we suggested that they resubmit the application, even though most of the work has been completed or was being completed in the summer of 2020. We suggested that they resubmit the application for the new fiscal year, which they did, October 1st of 2020. We've gone through the grant, and even though, as I said, most of the items were already upgraded or improved or renovated and closed out and paid for, we still, based on the situation of what they've done to the building, the situation with COVID as well, we recommend that the board still fund a majority of the improvements that they put into this project. The couple, business couple, Wanik and Jacqueline Branca, which are actually on the line, they're the new tenants and business owners of this, that are going into the property. They spent already over $150,000 of their own money, and they're requesting some of it to be refunded by the CRA. They're online to speak about their project as well, and we're basically looking for approval from the board to fund, although they were requesting $25,000, which is the most that you could apply for. The staff is recommending an amount a little under $23,000 based on the all the receipts and documents that they provided us to date. You guys have any questions, or we should bring on the applicants, or actually the business owners.
I have a question if it's timely.
Yep.
What's our rule on timing for this kinds of grants?
The rule is, I'm sorry,
John, this was just brought to our attention from Board Attorney David Tolsis. And in order to approve this, we would need the motioner to waive our normal requirement that the work not be completed prior to the grant award.
That was my question.
Yes, the rule is you need to first apply and then complete the work. Apply, get approval, and then complete the work, and then we reimburse you after that.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Yep. Rickards.
Question for Chris. The zoning approval said they needed to pull permits by next May. Do you know if they're on track for that?
Pull permits for, I'm sorry, for the work or the conditional use permit?
Was that a question for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing because I have a lot of echo myself. Can you repeat it?
Give me 1 second. I'm looking at the letter from the city. Yeah.
It's in their conditions of approval.
Right. According to the city, they've met all conditions of the letter that's dated July 8th.
Okay.
So they had the project went to the the city planning and zoning board in the springtime. In May, there was conditions, and they met all the conditions over the summer. And I confirmed that with the city planning and zoning board staff.
Okay.
Are there any other board questions or comments? Would anyone like to speak to the applicant? I believe they're on with us, correct?
Correct. Emily, can you take them off mute?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. This is Janique.
Hi, thanks for joining.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
I don't know how good the voiceovers are, but as Chris stated, we've been working
Does
on
anybody
this
have any
since.
questions?
Can everybody hear me?
Okay,
that's better.
Okay. Just to, as Chris stated, we had a lot of different applications with the city, given the zoning approval, and then they gave us many conditions to meet before we got our certificate of occupancy. We started this project back in January as far as seeking or choosing to occupy this space, and took about 2 months to negotiate the lease. And in March, we started our project inside with cosmetic things. The challenge we had with the deadline, one of the challenges for the June 1st deadline for the CRA grant, was that although on May 20th we were conditionally approved for this zoning, we didn't get our documents to submit with the application until July 8th. For one reason or another, of course, the city was having a tough time with COVID and having to work remotely and do meetings differently. So we have put a lot of time and effort into this place. The landlord is very nice. He's done a lot of upgrades to the exterior of the building as well. And as Chris said, we've put $150,000 at least, if not more, into this business and opening up here, and the cosmetic things, the electric that we had to do on the exterior, and also the plumbing is about $50,000. So if anyone has any questions, we'd love to answer them. We've been locals for 12 years. We really love Lake Worth. We are happy to be part of the community, the business community now as well. And we opened back only in August 21st actually, because then we finally got our business license after the whole process.
Thank you for that overview. It looks like it's a beautiful build out.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you in Lake Worth. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
You're muted. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for the overview. Is there any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, can I throw something in there? I think that echo we're hearing, that might be on you. Just to say, do you have headphones by chance? Because I think that would really take care of that issue. But while that's going on, I just had a quick question for the applicant. This is Tom Copeland. I hope y'all can hear me. Hi and welcome, and thanks for submitting this application. The only question I had, if we can unmute our applicants, is to ask how business has been since you've opened up in August. Congratulations on opening up. How's business been so far?
Thanks, Tom. Business has been actually very good for us, surprisingly. Being in our industry, pets continue to pass away, unfortunately. Although, you know, we're putting a lot of money into our marketing campaigning, website, things like that. And all of our clients so far have actually been direct from Google, and nothing yet from the veterinarian offices, which is really what we hope to be our bread and butter, because we need constant flow of business.
Understood. Well, thank you for choosing Lake Worth Beach as the home of your business. I'm really glad to hear that you guys are longtime hometown owners too. So that's really cool. Mr. Chair, I'll put forward that motion to grant in line with the recommendations by staff. in light of the exception that must be made to the rule. Mr. Tolsis, I hope I said that with some clarity. If not, I'm happy to rephrase that.
No, that works.
Okay. So we have a motion. Is there a seconder? We have a second from Mark Rickards.
Yes, that was from me.
So we have a motion and a second. Are there any other comments from the board? No.
Hey, we're not taking all those, right?
Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, please state so by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you very much and welcome to Lake Worth.
Thank you so much
Thank
to
you.
all of you. Have a great night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Moving on to action agenda item B, activation of 1213 Lake Avenue. Joan? Joan?
You're muted.
Thank you. I have a PowerPoint for you. We're going to try to bring that up to you while I am speaking. In August in 2019, the CRA purchased 1213 Lake Avenue. Most of you are familiar with it. It's the two-story building. There it is on Lake. We bought it for a little over 300. I believe it was about $350,000. It's a pretty solid two-story concrete block building that has not been activated for at least the 13 years that I have been here, probably longer than that. We were trying very hard working with the Sheriff's Department to try to bring in some kind of program to the building that would help us stabilize the neighborhood, something besides just development, but something that, could provide maybe mentoring for children, could provide some space for artists, and kind of the best of both worlds kind of came together through a meeting with Captain Bear and with Ricky Aikman from Inner City Innovations. And I'm going to hand it over to Ricky to give you a little overview of what exactly his organization does. But before I do that, Captain Bear, if I could ask you maybe to say a little bit about how you came to know Ricky and his organization, and then I'll get back to the actual development itself.
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, I wanted to speak about how I met Ricky Aiken. And I don't want to steal his thunder by talking about the program itself, so I'll do that for him. But I actually met Ricky at a protest barbecue after, the tragedy in Minneapolis with Floyd, Mr. Floyd. We were sitting around before it started and eating lunch, and we talked informally, and then I saw his presentation at the protest, and I couldn't say how much I was impressed by him and the program. It fills a void that I feel really could use filling in Lake Worth Beach and many other places. We're all really good, with the younger children, whether it's the families, law enforcement, teachers, coaches, whatnot. But what I really liked, one of the things I really liked about his program is it fills that void where it addresses the older kids in their teens and even into their early 20s. And from a law enforcement perspective, that's an age where a lot of times, the parents, law enforcement, coaches, teachers, we lose them to, suddenly their friends are more important role models than we are. And that's that critical time where, they could end up, getting into crime, or even worse, getting shot or killed. And, I couldn't say enough about how impressive it was, and I'm sure you would be too. Joan and I had been looking at a use for this building, and when I was talking to Ricky, I immediately felt, that this could be it. I think this could be really something special. So I'm here to support him in the program in any way he needs. And that's all I have to say. Hi, Ricky. Good to hear you. See you.
Good to see you again, Captain. Again, my name is Ricky Aiken, and I'm the founder and executive director of Inner City Innovators. And we're a 501c3 nonprofit corporation committed to eradicating youth delinquency and gun violence throughout the inner cities of Palm Beach County. And my motto is this: it's that real change happens when the people who need it lead it. I believe that no one has more incentive to change or transform or make better the conditions that plague communities of concentrated disadvantage than the people who live there. And as someone that grew up in the Tamarind Corridor here in West Palm Beach, I was exposed to violence, violent crime early. I was born into a family that I watched my mother struggle with drug abuse. My older brothers were the neighborhood drug dealers. So for a large part of my life, I felt like my options in life were twofold. I was either going to end up on drugs like my mom and her brothers and sisters, or selling it like my older brothers. And that was just because my community was the cocoon that I was brought up in. It was as if I was trapped. And thanks be to mentors who came into my life and kind of taught me how to frame my environment and my upbringing in a way that kind of gave me power to realize the things that I was going through made me resilient. I was able to channel that. And fast forward to 2015, 16, 15, it was one of the deadliest years on record in West Palm Beach. We had probably over 100 murders, and most of them happened in the Tamarind Corridor of my community. And the way this organization started was my cousin Terrion and I were watching the news and seeing people that we knew having their lives taken by gun violence on a daily basis. So at that moment, we decided to step up and do something about it. And it started out with us attending city commission meetings and community forums, offering our voices on why we felt like the gun violence was happening, to us becoming a nonprofit corporation. Thanks to my friend Tom, who helped us see the promise in incorporating. Since then, we've continued to, everything that we do is, it's really intuitive. You know, I really have been able to draw on my experiences of growing up in communities of concentrated violence and couple that with my love for learning and studying how communities like mine became the way they are to develop a pretty unique program. Inner City Innovators runs 3 primary programs that we feel like are integral to our success in our field. Number 1 is our Hope Dealer Mentoring Program, which is a hybrid mentoring program focused on social emotional learning, community service, and personal leadership development. Through my experiences working with young people, I find that a lot of them, when they commit violent crimes or get themselves into situations no one wants to be in, it's because they're finding ways to respond or react to what they're going through at home. When I was watching my mom struggle with her drug addiction and to put food on the table, it brought stresses to my life that made it virtually impossible for me to focus on school and getting an education. And not having the right people in my life that I can vet and who can help me process these things kind of led to me making some of those poor decisions in my life. And that's why our mentoring program is so important, because young people, like, there are countless organizations, as Captain Bear said, that are working with younger kids and the little ones. They're cute and they're easier to manage and to work with. But as these teens get older, you know, they go through puberty and they kind of have to go through a journey where a lot of those more traditional programs or organizations lose touch with them. And these kids are typically left to fend for themselves. And our programs are built in a way to attract these types of teens and to make them feel like the thing that they're a part of is cool and something that most teen wants to be a part of. And that's why we call it the Hope Dealer Mentoring Program. You know, we want our young people to be hope dealers instead of dope dealers. When I was growing up in my community, the only role models we had were the guys standing on those street corners. So I made it my mission that on every corner you see a dope dealer, on the corner standing opposite, you see a hope dealer, someone there to rebuild and bring hope to their community instead of giving in to the temptation to become a part of the downfall that we've been seeing for so many years in our life. And just to give some context to our mentoring program, earlier this year at West Palm Beach's State of the City address, Mayor Keith James boasted of a 29% decline in the homicide rate and an 18% decline in the violent crime rate. And I have to take credit for at least some of that reduction in crime. As our mentoring agency, we don't try to pull one or two kids out of bad groups. We try to adopt the entire peer network. And we did that with one particular group that hung out on 22nd Street in the West Palm Beach area. We had about 30 young men in this initial group, and 40% of the young men in that group had been shot before. But every time there was a shooting, we were responding to the shootings. We were at the hospitals. We were pulling their peer group out for debriefing sessions and just really pursuing these young men and doing everything we could to engage them, pull them into our mentoring dynamics, and anything we do to pull them back. We were proud to announce that every young man in that group didn't recidivists go back to gun violence, and they're now the leaders in our mentoring program. And everything we do as an organization is designed so that the young men who come through our mentoring program are able to carry out the programming. And very quickly, our second and third program is our community engagement walks and activities, where we walk the streets to pursue and engage and attract the young men most likely to perpetrate or be victimized by gun violence into our program. And if we're not offering something that could benefit them, we carry information from partner programs like the Urban League, Urban Youth Impact, Center for Creative Education. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We realize that a lot of the reasons that young people aren't attending these programs because the program providers don't have the social capital to help these young people realize what they're doing is important. So that's our job, to come in and to assist in that way. And lastly is our anti-violence workshop, where we're willing to go into schools, community centers, churches, anywhere that serves young people that are residing in communities of concentrated violence and disadvantage. We teach them how to keep themselves safe in their communities as they navigate life there. And like I said before, all of our programs are designed to be run by the young people who come through our mentoring program. And our expansion method is to have a Hope Dealer group in every community of concentrated violence throughout Palm Beach County. And just recently, we've been invited, in addition to West Palm Beach and to Riviera Beach, and now Lake Worth. And we're super excited. We serve young people, particularly we were serving young men from 13 all the way up to 24. And thanks to some awesome volunteers, we'll be rolling out a girls mentoring program as well for young women in this demographic that could really use our service. So we're really looking forward to partnering with the City of Lake Worth to do whatever we can to help with diversity and inclusion initiatives, to reach out to and strengthen and support and provide a platform for the thriving Guatemalan and Haitian community there. So I know I didn't go according to my slide because I like to just talk and get it all out instead of going slide to slide. But that information is there to be shared for anyone who wants to check it out. And I'd love to go deeper. I'll leave my contact information for any follow-up. But now I'd like to open it up for any questions you may have. Or Joan, you could take over.
Sure. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much. I can't really say enough about Ricky and how powerful his message is, and how much I believe that the city could really use him and the mentors that he has, and I want to thank him for opening it up to both females and people of different minority groups, because we all know that Lake Worth is very diverse. I think this is one of the key pieces that we have been missing as far as redevelopment is concerned. You know, the past few years, we've done a lot of housing. Now we're doing a lot of commercial projects, but we really haven't done some of the other pieces. And it's not really those pieces that we could do, but the way to try to reach out to the community and help stabilize these areas is to work with the people who know how to do it. And thanks to Captain Bear, I was able to meet with Ricky and really see a lot of his work and speak to him, and was certainly impressed by what he's done so far. So I'm happy to report that what I'm calling Madeline's Place, in honor of our former chair, Madeline McKendry, who passed away in 2019. We have plans for it's a 2-story building, obviously, but we would like to actually redesign it so people could actually use the roof as well. I was able to, after working with a lot of people over a number of years, to secure a $250,000 construction grant to redo the building, to bring it back into up to code, and to bring it be able to be used again. And Chris in our office was also able to get another $100,000 for construction, so we can clearly do what you will see hopefully on the next slide. One more, thank you. The idea is the ground floor, which is 2,500 square feet, would be used by inner city innovators. They would do their mentoring program and workshops, etc., in that particular space. And then you'll see that in the back, there's actually a stairs that goes to the second floor. And our idea for the second floor was to create artist studio space for low rent, because we had done a great job in providing live workspace that is affordable for people who buy it, but we haven't been able to provide any rental space. So this particular building would have about 5 or 6 different small workspaces on the second floor. It would have a number of sinks up there. It would also have, you know, a small gathering place so artists could, you know, talk and hold some kind of workshops together. And then on the third floor, we thought we would make use of the roof there. So it would kind of, as you'll see in some of your packets, it's just really a place to kind of meet, maybe have some small events, you know, to hang out. I think it'll be an incredible opportunity for this particular part of the street. I think it's going to really bring kind of that piece that's been missing over on the west side here. And I'm really happy to bring this forward to you. We would be charging for the studio space on the second floor, as that will help us kind of meet some of the, you know, maintenance costs and also the utility costs. We're also looking into a number of other funding opportunities that I really feel like we have a really strong case for. But in order for us to get started, there's a few things that would need to happen. One is the CRA would need to transfer the building from the ownership of the CRA to the Lake Worth Cultural Renaissance Organization. This would allow me to actually receive the grant for $250,000 that we would need to do the construction, and it'll allow me to apply for other grants through the foundation. I would also need the board to obviously approve the concept of having inner city innovators on the bottom floor, studio space on the second floor, so we can move forward with the plans. I actually have them pretty much done, but I'm certainly open to changing the design or taking, you know, input as far as that is concerned. I just wanted to have at least something to show you. It's not final in any state, but it is a good idea, at least I think so. And lastly, I would need the board to actually accept the grant awards and allow staff to execute agreements with the different potential funders. I think I've covered everything. So if you have any questions, which I'm sure you do, don't forget to unmute yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Joan. And thank you very much for the overview. What a great organization. Look forward to having you in Lake Worth. So I'm going to open it up to the board to ask any questions or make any comments. Actually, let's entertain a motion and then a second, and then we'll go to comment.
Mr. Chair, before we entertain a motion, can I just get any advice from Mr. Tolsis? I'm the chairman of the board for Intercity Innovators. I have been since the organization started, very proudly. But I just need to know if this in any way is a conflict. I mean, obviously, I don't benefit in any way from the organization. It's a completely voluntary thing. Although I do benefit in great measure in pride and excitement for this project, but only in that.
Mr. Chair, David Tulsis, Board Attorney. I'm not your personal attorney, but based upon my understanding of the Palm Beach Code of Ethics as well as the Florida Code of Ethics, in light of the fact that you are on the board of directors of this organization, I would recommend that you recuse yourself from any discussion or vote on these matters.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tolsis. Chairman, I do that at this time.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Just make sure you fill out the appropriate conflict form.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
So it sounded like there was a lot of motions to be made.
If I may, Joan can clarify, but I think at this time you're just authorizing staff to move forward with the concept, and then we will bring back at a later time the various agreements and any other approvals that need to be made.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, I'll move forward with the concept, further development of the concept for the renovation of the building with the tenant plan.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. So let's have some discussion. Who would like to go ahead?
So my question is the second floor space would be the revenue of the space. And so studios, I guess it's just kind of artist studios is the concept.
Correct.
Is there a decent amount of demand for those still? I think there's a number of those getting developed already.
No, absolutely. We have people actually continually ask us for workspace. We get a lot of people who think actually this space actually is workspace for artists, and I think this is a good way for us to offer it, but at a cheaper price than at least I know some other places are offering it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Hey, Brendan, this is Brent Whitfield. I was just trying to understand the programming from any Intercity Innovators. The concept is we would allow them to basically be tenants of the space rent-free, and then they would fund their programming out of the kind of fundraising that they do as a 501c3 organization. Is that the concept?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to say, I think the position of this facility in the city is really a great idea and location, because with Hatch, right there too, we're kind of establishing some community space. And along the train track corridor, it's always kind of a divide to me, and the parts of downtown and the parts of the city. One of the things I love about the CRA is, with events like Dia de los Muertos, the CRA is one of the organizations in the city that brings together the different parts and the different communities. And I think this is another kind of outreaching initiative in that way. And, I've never met Mr. Aiken, but I'm very familiar with his organization from reading about it in the news and seeing some of the great work they're doing. And so I'm super excited about the idea of Intercity Innovators in Lake Worth Beach. And I'm encouraged to see already that the Sheriff's Office is behind it, because I think anytime we can partner with them is a benefit as well. So I support it. I just wanted to understand a little better how it worked for us going forward on a financial basis.
Okay, great. So thank you for that, Brent. And thank you, Ricky, for taking the time to make us familiar with your organization and the good work you do. It sounds like we're ready for a vote. So all those in favor, please state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you and welcome to Lake Worth.
Thank
you
I
so
really
much.
let the record reflect.
Thanks,
just let the
Ricky.
record
Thanks,
reflect
Captain Bear.
that Commissioner Copeland recused himself from this matter.
David.
Impactsman.
We are on to action item B, which is the purchase of property from city to facilitate development.
And Commissioner Paxton recused himself from that matter as well. So the motion passed 5-0.
Okay.
This is a similar request to one we have done in the past. We're working with the city to facilitate development. This particular development would take place on 10th Avenue North between North E and North F Streets on the north side. The assemblage that the development would be built on is 1008 North E Street, 1009 North F Street, 1005 North F, and 1003 North F. And there is a very small parcel, 1003 North F, which is currently owned by the city that you can see in the map that's been provided to you. It only measures 0.03 acres. However, it is needed for this particular development to take place. So the city has asked us to kind of step in and be the facilitator of it, as we have in the past. So what would happen is if the board approves it, the city would convey the property to us, and then we would do a 30-day notice. And more than likely, we would then transfer the property to the developer of this 24-unit apartment building. For your review is the purchase and sale agreement that is in your packet, and there's also some preliminary drawings for the development that was reviewed by Planning and Zoning at their November meeting. They were actually approved. If the CRA decides to approve the agreement, it then goes to the City Commission for execution. Then we would work with the developer. Their name is 1212 10th Avenue North LLC. So the staff recommendation is to approve the purchase and sale agreement with the City of Lake Worth to facilitate the development by 1212 10th Avenue North LLC. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Take a motion in a second, please. Anyone?
Sorry. I think I'm muted, but I'll move to approve the purchase and sale agreement with the City of Lake Worth Beach to facilitate the development of 1212 10th Avenue North LLC.
Thank you, Leah.
And I'll second it.
Thanks,
Mark
Mark.
Rickards.
Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor, please state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on. Executive Director's Annual Review. Okay. Joan, you want to hit some of the highlights that are in our agenda packet?
Sure. It's hard for me to believe this, but I've actually been here for 13 years. And I'm happy to say I'm working with the same team that were here when I got here with Emily and Chris. I'm very thankful to them for staying on with me for all these 13 years and working so hard to do all the things that we have accomplished over these years, as well as the support from the board and of course David Tulsa's We've been able to purchase millions of dollars of real estate. We've been able to facilitate close to 200 affordable units in the city. We brought in multiple developments worth millions of dollars by leveraging the amount of money that we have. We've done a lot of, we created a Lula Lake Worth Arts Foundation that actually has the same staff as the CRA, but we carry on that organization that does things from you know, the planters downtown to banners on Dixie, to events that we have here at Hatch. Hatch is another thing that we've brought. We, you know, took over this building from the city a number of years ago. We leveraged, you know, the money that was spent on the building before by the city to weatherize it, and we got a grant from the state, I believe over $300,000 to make the building look the way that it does today. I have a whole list here of, you know, some of the accomplishments that we were able to do over these years, and I've been very blessed to have the boards that I've had over the years, and of course, like I said, the staff that I've had. I would like very much to continue my journey here at Lake Worth Beach. My contract actually expired in August, but we have been so incredibly busy with a whole bunch of stuff that's really come on our plate lately that it just kind of kept getting pushed off and pushed off. And then Brendan finally said, you know, you need to put your contract on the agenda. So we are here today, and I'm certainly open to any comments you have, even criticism, and I look forward to hopefully working at this job for another 4 years, if that's what the board decides. Thank you.
Joan has been an incredible last 4 years. That's all I have to say about that. What has come out of the CRA district in the last 4 years has been unbelievable. I mean, the mid, where did that come from? I mean, where did that come from? The one, where did that come from? I mean, it just didn't come out of thin air. It came out of a lot of hard work that I think you did a great big part of that. The Bohemian getting ready to come out. The new place just north of the mid. And then just the development that's all around the Hatch area, and, you know, and more of it today. And I wish I could have voted for that project today at 1213. It's fantastic. It's a perfect keystone for that part of our neighborhood. Just, I think, you know, with the artist facilities, with the public space, with the use with Ricky's group. I wish I could have said, I wanted to say something because I was listening to the presentations about that, just to how I really thought that was an amazing group. I'd never heard of them before. And it's just, it's been quite a busy, and we won't even talk about some of the stuff going on downtown. You know, on top of that, it's going on, or it's in the process of going on, because it's at the Matthews Brewery, the Dr. Feelgoods, or whatever the new one's called. I mean, just, and then all the numerous interior facade grants, just things, the place where the Starbucks is, you know, the Dunkin' Donuts, can I go on? It's been amazing. I mean, it takes hard work, and you've laid a lot of the groundwork with Chris and Emily. So that's my vote.
John, I'm sorry, my connection was in and out. Was there a motion? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the.
No, there was a vote of support.
Okay. Well, I would like to take a motion in a second, and then we can have further conversation. I do agree with all the wonderful things you said and all the wonderful things that Joan has done for the city. Does anyone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make that motion. This is Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
And just for the record, the motion is to approve the proposed amendment to the employment agreement as presented.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Mark. Okay, now we can have comment or questions if anyone would like to.
My connection's pretty bad too, so I'll try to make it fast. Joan, I know it makes you uncomfortable to talk about lists of accomplishments and have these discussions, but it's that lack of ego and your ability to continue all of these quiet accomplishments that make me a very big fan in terms of your role here and your ability to not only be a role model, but use applied pressure over time to get things done that I would have not thought possible. So big fan in me, and I will vote yes on this.
So I have nothing to add. I think Joan's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this down. So I have been thoroughly impressed with the CRA and the staff at the CRA. And I think it was the amount of things that we've accomplished is remarkable, but it was also our responsiveness and nimble response to the COVID pandemic that hit Lake Worth really hard. And instead of just going about our business at the CRA, Joan mobilized a lot of efforts to help the businesses that were suffering, to help the people that were suffering, and that came out of the CRA. And I think it's something that we just should be immensely proud of, that we are part of this organization that can step up and really help a community when it's down. And that's what we did. And it really was Joan and the staff that did that. I got to participate, right? So I think that is just a remarkable thing. I know that there's a lot of consternation in the public right now about the CRA, and it's really just about a development between L and M. And so we'll have a conversation about that in a little bit. But that consternation is casting a little bit of a negative opinion about the CRA. I would interpret it as largely in part of that one project, which isn't really the CRA's fault, right? But it is something that we are managing right now. So I get calls about staff and whether they're really committed to Lake Worth and that kind of stuff. I'm here to say they absolutely are, and you just see that meeting after meeting, including Madeline's place. But certainly, I think we as a CRA could probably figure out how to engage the community that is sort of has a lot of angst about that project. And so that's just the one thing I would think that maybe there's something we can do to have a little better engagement there. But setting that aside, that's a factor of a lot of success, right? And we've just had a tremendous amount of success, and I'm certainly happy to continue with this staff because we'd be foolish not to. I mean, heck, I have other CRAs that I hear about saying we want to be more like Lake Worth CRA, right? So that's pretty much a testament in of itself. I'm done.
Thank you, Drew. Is anyone that is attending virtual, any board members? Board members, sorry. Is there any board members that would like to comment?
Hi, this is Brent. I definitely want to reiterate my fellow board members' comments that the work done on behalf of Joan and the staff, I think, speaks for itself. And I think, you know, as Drew mentioned, and we see with Madeline's place, those are things that really aren't in the scope of services or expectations for the executive director role or for the staff to do kind of outreach during times of need or to try to do community building. So I'm proud that we do more than just, you know, create opportunities for redevelopment. I will say that I think it is important that we try to work on a little bit. I know the city is, I've lived here long enough to recognize that there's always going to be kind of two sides to some of these projects, and really there's not always a way to soothe the but I do think in every opportunity to try to make sure that people understand what the CRA is doing, and you know, I think sometimes people get the impression that not everything's transparent, but I think that's kind of important when you're looking at redevelopment. Some of those things have to be really put together in a small group before they are brought out into the public sphere. But all these projects still go through the public process in the city, so there's going to be ample opportunities for that input, in my opinion. So, you know, I definitely don't want to change staff at all. I think that's, you know, we're going in the right direction, and we have been for a while, and so we want to keep that momentum going.
Thank you, Brent. Go ahead, Tom.
This is Tom. In the interest that everybody has put some input in, I will as well, but I don't want to spend much time repeating. I echo Drew's statements, really everybody's statements. I mean, I think you guys have all made some really great points. I appreciate that there's a recognition that maybe there's more outreach that could be done in the future that we'll look forward to improving on. I back that as well. But, you know, these other points, you know, the point that Drew made about how that's a factor of a lot of success is 100% true. Over 13 years, I mean, John's comments were really the exciting, you know, a quick brush over what's happened. You know, not even to mention the funds that came out of the NSP grants. You know, that was even before, that was back in 2008 when Joan first started. So Joan, you know, you think outside the box. You do put, I mean, I know personally, because, you know, just being on this board with all y'all, we know that Joan puts the interests of Lake Worth first. Joan, I know you do that. You know, it's evident in your work. It's evident in your commitment over these last 13 years. And this ship is going in the right direction. You know, things that we could look to improve on, of course, we all do that in all of our jobs. But this ship is going in the right direction. I think that's what this vote is about, this vote of confidence that we're all placing. So I'm happy to be firmly in that camp as well. So thank you. And to the rest of the staff for all that you guys do for the CRA. We're looking to keep this thing moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I'll just say that most of you know that this is my second tour of duty on the CRA, and I can say with the highest level of confidence that what the CRA is and all the good work that we have done as a CRA would not be possible without Joan. And I say that wholeheartedly. Probably the best motion I've ever been a part of, and I believe I even made the motion, was to hire Joan. And I'll always remember that and be proud of that particular motion. And we're just very fortunate to have her. And the team we have is just an amazing team. And I'm just incredibly grateful that they've been a part of the CRA and a part of Lake Worth this long. So I think we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor?
Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I have
Sorry. Thank you, Emily. Please read the public comment, please.
Ariana Peters Development. Joan Oliva is an incredible asset to the city and the Lake Worth Beach CRA. It would be detrimental to not have her on the team. I've had nothing but overwhelming positive experiences with Joan and the Lake Worth Beach CRA under her direction. I highly recommend her contract is renewed. She is such a positive force to our town, inviting new businesses in, helping to promote the downtown, as well as driving momentum to the city. She is a force Lake Worth Beach should be so thankful for, as I know we are. We look forward to her contract being renewed and continuing to see her incredible efforts. Ricardo Hernandez. I have known Joan Oliva since we responded to an RFP last year. She has been very professional with us throughout the entire process. Fortunately, we got awarded the RFP this year, and I have interacted with her more actively. She is passionate about her work and a good asset to the CRA. I have no doubt to recommend her for a contract renewal with the CRA. Jeff Burns. It has been brought to my attention that Joan Oliva's contract for her director position at the CRA is going before the board at the November 10th meeting. As such, I felt compelled to communicate my experience in working with Joan and her staff at the CRA in an effort to hopefully assist in any decisions being brought before the board. My company, Affiliated Development, is currently in partnership with the Lake Worth Beach CRA on 2 multifamily apartment projects. One, the Mid, which is set to be completed by February of 2021, and the second, the Bohemian, which is set to start in the first quarter of 2021. Our investment to the city of Lake Worth Beach totals nearly $100 million. I can say with great confidence that had it not been for the vision, leadership, determination, hard work of Joan Oliva, these projects and our investment would not have happened. I work with CRA directors in cities such as Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Hollywood, just to name a few, and I've yet to come across anyone in her position with a higher degree of know-how and ingenuity than Joan. Simply put, she's a doer. The respect I have for her is tremendous. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, and the board's experience with Joan is on point as with mine. In any event, I'd strongly urge you to do whatever it takes to keep Joan in her role as the director so that we can continue to build on the momentum she's been instrumental in creating. Chuck Hallberg, Stewart and Shelby Development. I'm sending this email to let you know that what a pleasure it has been for the past 8 years or so providing construction services in Lake Worth Beach and working closely with Joan Oliva and her team. I have built for various South Florida CRAs over the years and have found Joan and her team to be the best with communication, clarity in RFPs, and the entire process along the way. I see great things happening in Lake Worth Beach and feel much of this is due to her work and her team. As I continue to be involved in various projects, I look forward to continuing our relationship and providing quality housing for the residents. Canatelli Builders. Ed Canatelli. I've worked with Joan in both Lake Worth and previously in Fort Lauderdale. I've had nothing but the most positive experience in dealing with Joan and her staff. I couldn't think of a person with more professionalism, integrity, and dedication to head a CRA. An opportunity to be involved in a deal that is in Joan's district gets special attention just at the mere fact of her involvement. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Joan, not as just a business professional, but as a person as well. Please feel free to contact me with any further questions. Ron Richard, Lake Osborne. Well, now that the election is over, I feel the need to make a comment about what has been happening here in Lake Worth Beach. All too often, people write to complain or ask for something. I want to take this opportunity to do the opposite. I've been working at the Eco Building on Lake Avenue for the past year. I also have recently moved back to Lake Worth Beach. I've been keeping an eye open and looking at what's happening in this wonderful city. I have to say that Joan and the CRE staff deserve some type of recognition for all the hard work that's been done in such a short period of time. There is excitement shown by out-of-town guests to our Eco Center building. The housing opportunity will allow our city to grow and become more wonderful than it already is. Without Joan and her staff, the grant funds wouldn't find their way to Lake Worth Beach. Thank you so much for making this city a place that we can be proud of, a place moving responsibly into the future, a place many of us are happy to call home. Terry Murray, Executive Director of Neighborhood Renaissance. It is with great pleasure that I offer my support for Joan's contract renewal. Under her vision and leadership, Neighborhood Renaissance was able to complete the $3.4 million mixed-use West Village art lofts that developed 8 attractive live-work townhomes and affordable to low moderate income artist households in 2,000 square feet of Class A neighborhood commercial space. In addition, we were able to construct 2 single-family homes for moderate income first-time home buyers on lots donated by the CRA. Her expertise, knowledge, and professionalism were instrumental in the successful completion of these projects. We look forward to working in partnership with the CRA and Ms. Oliva on future endeavors. Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso. As your liaison from the City Commission, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for your esteemed service to the CRA Board. I want to take a moment to thank Joan and her staff for all of the amazing work they have done and continue to do under your direction in the city of Lake Worth Beach. You and Joan and her staff have created an award-winning CRA. As always, I look forward to continuing to work with you. Have a great Veterans Day. Vito Gianola, please advise the board that Joan Oliva has been and continues to be instrumental in getting many of the projects completed along 6th and Dixie. Thanks to Joan and the team, we were able to complete an assemblage of 5 individual lots, demolish drug-infested homes, and build a next-generation Duncan, all within 4 years from an idea to a reality. Joan and team were able to overcome every challenge that Duncan corporate came up with and made the deal happen. The CRA was able to get demolition crews, electrical crews, and telephone vendor crews to respond in a timely fashion and deliver results. We are now working on establishing the new home of the 6th Avenue electrical substation, and thanks to Joan and the CRA efforts, the electrical substation project is on track to start engineering, soil testing, and manufacturing of new equipment. Joan's vast knowledge and great working relations with myself and the various government agencies adds priceless value to projects that we are presented. The architects, engineers, and other professional advisors that we engage enjoy working and sharing ideas with the CRA. We need Joan Oliva and the CRA's help to continue the work and progress and the positive changes for Lake Worth Beach. Tim Carey. I'm writing in support of the CRA renewing Joan Oliva's contract. I've owned and operated small multifamily units in Lake Worth Beach since 2018, and I'm in the midst of a larger project. Joan's continued guidance and assistance has been critical to my team's success thus far. I would strongly urge that the CRA board renew her contract. Despite the successful projects she has guided and the slew of projects about to open, I know that she is still has much to contribute to Lake Worth Beach and the CRA. Again, the CRA should do all to retain Joan. Thanks. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Alexander Rosemurgy. I am writing this letter on behalf of Rosemurgy Properties. We have had an opportunity to work with Joan Oliva and the CRA over the past year. Joan has been an absolute pleasure to work with in her role as executive director. She is knowledgeable, responsive, and professional. We appreciated her assistance and patience to work through many complex and challenging issues we have faced in our commercial development efforts in Lake Worth Beach. Joan is a tremendous asset to the CRA of Lake Worth Beach, and we look forward to working with her in the future. Bhavin Shah, Oak Lane Partners. Dear respected board members, I have worked with Joan over the past 3 years as my organization has pursued and evaluated multiple development and economic revitalization projects in the city of Lake Worth Beach. Not only was Joan convincing in helping me select Lake Worth Beach versus other competing cities for the establishment of a technology operations center for one of our portfolio companies at 1013 Lake Avenue, but she was incredibly proactive and thoughtful in helping us identify sites, evaluate merits and risks, and facilitate an investment. This fair and balanced support both before and after our initial investment goes well beyond her job description and is something I believe sets her apart from others in the urban economic development arena with whom I have interacted. Joan and the CRA's support has been a critical factor in our increasing our investment in Lake Worth Beach almost 5-fold in the past 18 months. Her professional passion for driving sensible, sustainable economic development in the city of Lake Worth, from the Mid to the Bohemian to 1000 Lake, is matched equally by her personal commitment to promote local, vital community development initiatives, from the Street Painting Festival to Dia de los Muertos to Focus Lake Worth. The city of Lake Worth Beach is truly fortunate to have someone of Joan's caliber, integrity, and passion in the role of executive director of this very important barometer organization for the city. I strongly support her continuing in this position. Juan Cotton. I am writing you to shine some light at one of Lake Worth Beach's best department heads, Joan Oliva. I've been dealing with the CRA for many years with different departmental heads, and I can only say that the CRA has been a more exciting, successful, and robust agency with Joan at the helm. Joan has great qualities in her working with all types of people and projects that the CRA takes on, which is special jobs. From organizing food drives for less fortunate locals to organizing major development projects, Joan is a person who is able to read people and situations in a way that produces results for projects and overall progress, which any CRA needs. I can also say that she is respected in the community as well as a leader and a doer, which are great attributes that are hard to replace. I and many other professionals, along with business owners, would completely endorse a contract renewal for Joan Oliva. Lake Worth Beach really needs her. Final comment, Peter Meyerhofer. I am writing in support of retaining Joan Oliva as director of the Lake Worth Beach CRA. In my many years of working with Joan, both as a CRA board chair and citizen, she has shown the skills and abilities to look ahead into the future and keep Lake Worth Beach moving forward. In 2009-2010, Joan was able to put together a productive team to go after federal money earmarked to help with the housing financial crisis. The results of that funding was to be able to secure housing for many first-time buyers and the beginning of the Arts District. Lake Worth Beach continues to move in the right direction, in part because of Joan's leadership at the CRA. As a realtor, I can tell you that Lake Worth Beach is on everyone's radar. As a resident who moved back to Lake Worth Beach, Joan and the CRA are helping Lake Worth Beach be an interesting and diverse place. My apologies. One more public comment. Final comment. John Laswick. This letter conveys my enthusiastic recommendation of Joan Oliva as Executive Director of the Lake Worth Community Redevelopment Agency. I met Joan through her management of the Neighborhood Stabilization Program grant that Lake Worth received in the second round of the program, a highly competitive cycle in which only 56 applications succeeded in a pool of over 400 submissions. I was the team leader of the NSP2 program for the Department of Housing and Urban Development in HUD headquarters and retired in 2019 as a deputy director of the Entitlement Communities CDBG program. I did not know Lake Worth before then, but quickly grew to appreciate the quality of the NSP2 program that Joan developed for you. It met our criteria for creativity and collaboration, but more importantly, it embodied those principles in action. Early on, HUD recognized the Lake Worth program as a best practice and retains 2 videos on its NSP website to this day. They present a before and after view of a high quality program in action. I still refer people to those stories as some of the most ambitious and successful of the many superb NSP2 projects. Because Florida was our most challenging state, I was involved with your program throughout its implementation. I soon learned that Joan was not only the brains of the effort, but also the brawn in making it successful. This resulted from her excellent management skills and careful record keeping that makes granting agencies happy. She held together one of the largest collaborations in the NSP2 program, ensuring that it truly functioned to advance the program. She always conferred with us if she felt unsure of the proper course of action. Given the scale and level of innovation of the program, these practices mattered. Even more significantly, Lake Worth recognized the potential to use NSP as a force for development beyond the immediate foreclosure crisis. I had done volunteer work in arts-based redevelopment when I lived in Tucson, so I felt a personal link to the aspect of your program. Joan played a large role in refining the vision and has kept in sharp focus as the program has progressed. She not only finds opportunities, but creates them and then ensures that they come to fruition. The New Live workspaces were not only some of the most ambitious projects in the country, but also impressively beautiful. In summary, you should retain Joan Oliva as your executive director without hesitation, and feel glad that she wants to stay. Joan believes in the power of community-based redevelopment, the only kind that really works. Everything else flows from that, her vision, organizational skills, and the drive to guarantee notable accomplishments. I have worked with literally hundreds of local government people in her capacity, and Joan always makes my top 10 list. Please feel free to contact me or write with any questions. That's it for public comment.
Wow. Thank you, Emily, for reading all those. I agree with all of it. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Was that a unanimous? Okay. Just want to make sure there's a delay there. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the last agenda item on our action agenda, which is direct communication to mayor and city commission. Joan, do you want to introduce that?
I'm sorry, I'm blown away.
I hear you. That was amazing.
I don't know where it is. Yeah, I believe there was an email that was sent from the chair of the HRPB board that kind of put the CRA in somewhat of a negative light, and kind of made us a little wary of moving forward with some projects when his opinion of the CRA was so low. And David, we shared the information with David, and he wrote a letter for the board to consider sending to the city commission in regards to his comments, and whether or not he could really be unbiased in the future when it comes to projects led by the CRA going in front of the HRPB. That letter was sent to you, I believe, yesterday, and it's in your packets. It's up to the board whether or not they would like to support sending that letter or not.
Okay. Thank you, Joan, for that overview. All of the information was sent out. It was the last item to be added to the agenda. Let me see if I can. So we'll take a motion, and then we can have discussion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move that we do not send the letter.
Okay. We have a motion to not send the letter. Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Is there another motion before we can have discussion? Sorry? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Brendan, this is Brent.
Yes.
I would second the motion by board member Bartlett.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So let's discuss. Is there anyone that would like to go first on this matter?
I mean, I can explain my motion.
Yes, thank you. Drew.
So basically, I've been doing government my entire career, and a letter like this can really spawn animosity between government organizations. And I think the first step you do when you see opinions by board members of different organizations or something like that is you reach out to them and you say, what gives? And so I called, I don't know Phil, but Joan was able to get me his number. So I reached out to him and called him and asked him about it. And he does support the CRA and what the CRA is doing. So I'm not sure what he meant by that statement that was in his email. He does support the redevelopment of the properties between L and M, and just wants to engage the developer to work through issues that he sees may be before him at the Historic Preservation Commission. if you read his email, he knows it needs to be redeveloped, right? So they're just concerned about how it needs to be redeveloped. And I think as part of the review committee, I also, I mean, we got 3 proposals. None of them were perfect. And so now we have someone that we've selected who's very well qualified and who stated, because I asked him, that he was willing to work with the community to look at different options and that kind of stuff. So instead of taking the email at sort of face value, I think it's probably worthwhile talking to them, talking to historic preservation. They've got to go through that whole process. So I think the CRA coming out and sort of asking that a member of the historic preservation not be engaged in the development of a project just doesn't seem right to me.
Okay. Does anybody else have any? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Brendan, I just want to mention that I seconded the motion because I agree. I just think there's the seeds of acrimony in this project, and I think some of it is misinterpretation and some of it is just, kind of the push and pull you're going to see in any community, especially when a project is in someone's backyard. I mean, we did this with the Mid, and we're doing this with Bohemian without any pushback. And I think, we're showing that it can be done successfully and in an attractive fashion and in a way that is nothing but a benefit to the community. I just don't want to get I don't want to fuel any acrimony. I don't want to get in a position where one of our boards is attacking another one of our boards. That email did seem like a member of the Historic Resources Preservation Board was attacking our board, but I just think our role isn't to fight back or attack, but to try to diffuse and just make the case that this is obviously a benefit without kind of striking back. I just don't want this to devolve any further than it might, given some of the acrimony that we saw in the public comment on non-agenda items and some of those other things. So I'm not supportive of kind of pushing back in that way.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Mark?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. A few, I think, general comments. I don't know why that we have to explain this a lot, but we do, and maybe we should think about some of these redevelopment opportunities in terms of having a preamble to the public that explains that we're not the Historic Preservation Board, and we're not the Planning and Zoning Board, and we're not the City Commission, and we don't pretend to be. And we're more of a T-ball coach. We put the ball up on the tee, and we're not in the game. Seriously, we're not in the game. We have a focus on redevelopment. We have a focus on providing opportunity for redevelopment. We don't grant development orders. We can do agreements and make things happen and be a nimble board, but we send people on to the Planning and Zoning Board, to city staff, to City Commission, to make policy decisions, to make development order decisions. And I've had to explain as a board member many times that I'm not the Planning and Zoning Board. Like I can, you can make an argument to them, but I am not making a judgment on historic preservation. I'm not making a judgment on compatibility. I'm not making a judgment on all of the criteria that the elected bodies or appointed bodies make. We're a CRA and we can encourage public participation, but suggestions such as us holding a charrette just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense for us to entertain a charrette that has no bearing or enforceability or is some fake half step before they go to a body that would actually approve a site plan. So I think I was very frustrated by that email personally. I think it's ignorant. I really do. And someone's pet project to draw a street view of what it could look like I have no idea what use that would do to the CRA. If there's arguments to be made about compatibility, it's not with this board. If there's arguments to be made about historic preservation, it's not with this board. We teed up a opportunity for developers. We got quality responses, and we picked who we thought was the most valuable responder and sent them on their way to be in the game. And I don't know why that's hard to understand.
Yep.
We're still in the process of negotiating the agreement with the selected developers, so, you know, in reference to T-ball, the ball's not on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to bring that agreement back to you.
Thank you, David. Does any other board members have any comments on this before it goes to vote?
If no one else does, I can say a few things.
I'm going to make one comment if you, as a chair of another board here in the city of Lake Worth, you know, to me, it's just incredibly irresponsible. There's nothing more that I can really say to this. It's just for a chair of this other board to say, and I quote, "Cliff, I agree the CRA is harming our city badly and requires a major overhaul, parentheses, or death before sunset in 2030. You can't soften that up. And this is the person that will be running a meeting to, you know, to review this project once it gets teed up. And I think it's incredibly irresponsible, and I don't think it's a big ask to have this person recuse themselves from the vote." Go ahead, Drew.
Chair, I've been the chair of 4 or 5 other city boards, and I mean, I know I would like to think I've never sent anything like this out. And I mean, it looks like it's part of the political cycle that's going on right now. And so I think it's not a great look to see this from historic resources. I'm also not sure if it's great for us to pick a fight, as Brent has pointed out. That's all. I'm not really on the edge on this one. I don't know which way to go.
Thank you, John.
This is Tom. I'll put in some 2 cents as well. I'm hearing both sides, and I think I'm kind of more where John is at. I don't think it's wise to pick a fight, but Mr. Chair, I really appreciate you quoting that and reminding us all of the words that were used. And I also agree with you that I don't think this is a big ask to ask this individual to recuse themselves from future decisions that may be made on this project. But I understand yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just floundering here. I'm also having a hard time, but I think I'm leaning more towards your way, Mr. Chair. That I don't think we can just sort of not do something. Is there a world in which we can have some say in reworking that letter in some way, and that's an open question to whoever, or is this a timely thing, and this is the choice in front of us? Just curious.
I don't think there's any issue with you know, recommending. We do have a motion and a second, so if that's failed, a second motion could be made, and it could include, you know, some consideration for rewording. So.
Yeah, I'm more curious if that's like a practical move at this point, in terms of, you know, trying to address this quickly is of interest, and also, yeah, I think that's of interest. So I was just curious if that would be something that, as a point of discussion, if that would be something that any other board members would be interested in entertaining, or if we're just going to take this motion as it is.
Why don't we? Drew has one more comment, and if nobody else does, then we'll go to see if the motion carries. If it carries, then obviously there's no room to work the letter. If it doesn't carry, then we can discuss certainly a second motion.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't mean to make light of this statement. So I think my feeling is more about how we react to it. And so I think better ways to react to conflict. I mean, whenever I get criticized by county commissioners in my job all the time, and sometimes they get on that stand and they just nail me. And the only way I become more, create a better working relationship, as I call them. And I talk to them and I keep working with them until they don't think that anymore, or they're not having that kind of issue. And so I just feel it's not really condoning his statements at all. It's just thinking about how we react to them. And I can see while asking the city commission to take up a decision on recusing him, the recusal itself is not a big thing probably. It's the act of having a public meeting to talk about recusing someone from engaging in a manner that's very important to the community. I think that's where it's gonna swell into something bigger than we intend. And so I don't have any problem calling him and telling him that this is offensive and talking to him like that. I just don't think we should involve the city commission in it. I don't think we should write the letter. So it's more just how we respond. I'm not trying to condone the statements. This is a great organization that does not deserve death, right?
Thank you. And for the record, I never took your motion as condoning that.
If I may, I don't think a request for recusal is out of control under these circumstances. I think, if we had a judge in Palm Beach County that always ruled against the surviving spouse, that would be problematic. So for somebody to have a reaction that is just immediately negative, he's, for my purposes, the letter shows a prejudgment in all cases involving the CRA. And that could be an unfair statement on my part. I haven't had a conversation with him. But my reaction to the letter is that we can't.
Dave, sorry.
Yeah, please.
From a legal perspective, the city commission can require Mr. Buckhead to recuse himself. So it would be his decision as a member of the HR. So I think the letters intended to notify the issue and potentially use their position to provide suggestion and direction to him. But the city commission can't require him to recuse himself.
That's an important distinction to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, can we call the question? Any other comments? Any other comments? Roll. Emily, we're going to do this by roll call, please. Just with all the confusion with the different people, virtual and.
Ready?
Yep. Yep.
Mr. Tom Copeland,
To not send a letter, that's a yes.
Miss Leah Furch,
I think I'm coming down on not sending the letter.
Mr. John Paxman,
I agree with the motion.
Mr. Mark Rickards,
No.
Mr. Brennan Lynch,
No.
Drew Bartlett, and Brent Whitfield.
Yes.
Okay.
I would think that the wise discretion that this board might utilize is that one of our projects comes before HRPB, that we look at it on a casuistic basis and perhaps suggest through our briefing that there's a recusal if it's appropriate.
Correct. Okay. Thank you. Okay. That's it for the action agenda. Joan, you have a executive director report?
I do. I have two brief things for you, kind of following up on what's been said. For those of you who know me, you know that I hope you know that I would never refuse to speak with a commissioner or with a group that he has put together, nor would I agree to do it and then pull out last minute. That's not the way that I work, and I'm disappointed that, you know, things have been put on Facebook that can't be taken back, but I can tell you that I will continue to work on this project and work with the developer. We are simply not at the point with the L&M project to meet, to get feedback on design, simply because of the fact that we had to rework the units. The developer wants to put more 3-bedroom units in it. They eliminated studios, and we're still working on the layout. And until the layout is done, we can't really figure out what exactly the density is and what the design is. And that's going to take a little bit of time. And as Commissioner Rickard says, you know, the design will come back to the board for us to review, but really after that, it goes to the city, and the city, it goes through the city process of going through city staff, going through HRPB, going through city commission for several meetings. Before all that happens, the developer has committed to doing a public meeting, and we will follow up on that when we have a little bit more information to work on. We simply can't have a meeting without having some kind of drawings or some kind of massing or layout. So that will come soon, I promise. And then to end this on a very happy note, I'm really thrilled and humbled to say that we have been working with Commissioner Maxwell and a number of nonprofits and churches here in Lake Worth. And I'm happy to report that not this Saturday, the following Saturday, the 21st, the CRA will be handing out 1,200 Thanksgiving meals to needy families here in Lake Worth. It's not a, you know, first come, first serve. We're actually working directly with, like I said, the churches and the nonprofits. They'll be providing vouchers to families in need that they know. The turkeys were donated by Stateside Development, and a lot of the other food is coming from South Florida Food Bank. We'll be meeting here on the 20th to put together the bags. So if any of you have time before Thanksgiving and you would like to come and help, we would really appreciate it. The turkeys range from probably about 12 to 16 pounds. So if you are available on the 21st and you want to get a good workout, we'll probably be here all day handing out food. So thank you to our sponsors for that, and to Commissioner Maxwell for including us in that. We're kind of following the same format that we use every Tuesday with the feedings, and those as well will continue until at least the end of the year. And last but not least, I want to say that I'm incredibly humbled and I feel incredibly blessed to have the job that I have, because I do have so much passion for this community. And listening to the things that everybody said, it was a little overwhelming, but I feel incredibly lucky to have the team that I have here, as well as a really great board who I think kind of sees beyond just the kind of the paperwork and the projects and the programs that we do. They really, you all really want the best for the community, and it really fills my heart with a lot of pride, and like I said, I feel very blessed to be working here with all of you. And I promise you, and I promise the community, that we will work together doing the L&M project and any other project that we work. Just have to give us a bit of time to pull things together. But you have my commitment that I'm available to meet with people. I'm available to talk to people, but I just need a little bit of time so I can get together the facts. So thank you for your commitment, and thank you for your support. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving if I don't see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. I just want to recognize that Commissioner Maxwell is here with us and thank him for coming. Thank you for your leadership. And of course, thank you for helping arrange this wonderful opportunity to help a lot of families. So thank you. We'll move on to the board member comments, and I'll start with Mark.
I'll keep it brief because my connection's not great, but all the confidence in the world in you, Joan, and Emily and Chris and staff. Really appreciate the work and the dedication you guys do, and the passion you have for it is evident. And also wish the rest of the board and everyone listening a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Mark.
Sure. I'd like to echo those comments. I think the outpouring of support for Joan and staff was amazing and well-deserved, of course. And I think the Thanksgiving project sounds amazing, as has the efforts to date in food distribution. Other than that, can I be negative and say I don't like this meeting format? I keep losing connection, and I'm not good at technology, and I'm very sorry, but I don't like this.
Fair enough. Drew?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, yeah, good meeting. Thank you, staff. I think, Emily, you could have a future in radio, the way you read all those comments without a beat. So, fabulous. Mr. Chair, I think you run a great meeting, and I really appreciate that you do that. And I can see you've got so much passion for the CRA. And, you know, I am going to take back to Bill, whatever his name was, our extreme disappointment in his statements, and I'm going to let him know how we felt, and just make sure that he minds his words in the future, because when I talked to him, he didn't really have a problem with the organization, but I don't know why he said that, right? So I'll absolutely take that message back, because this is an organization to be extremely proud of. Thanks.
Thanks for those comments. John, do you have a comment? Mr. Paxman?
Yes, I'm sitting here. Just thought I was going to say, and I just hope that we can figure out a way when in time is appropriate to make sure that the L&M works out where we know it's going to have a lot of community input, and everyone can be allowed to get to the time where that can happen, and just not be in a hot rush to judgment. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that, because there's a political race going on and an election coming up. And it's just going to be one of those hot button issues. It's just going to keep coming up. And as I said earlier during that hearing, or hearing on that item, you just don't need to jump in the middle of that fray, because you don't need to throw gasoline on something that's purely political. And we're sitting here trying to do stuff that's purely economic in the city. Or at least mostly economic. Anyway, that's all I had to say. And thanks, Joan. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, everybody. It's been a really good run here for the last few years, and hopefully we can keep it pushing forward. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Man, I just feel so grateful to work alongside such insightful board members here, and I don't mean that to be flattering. I sincerely mean that. I went into this meeting with some opinions about some things after reading through the handouts, and then just having this discussion. It's just great to have a discussion where opinions can change, and glad to see cooler heads prevailed on that last item. And I'd also like to say to Commissioner Bartlett, thank you for taking that on to reach out to him. I think that's going to be productive, and this is an organization to be proud of, and John and everybody, you guys just have great things to say about this. So I echo you all. And then to Joan, congratulations. And, I saw you listening to those comments, and I saw you kind of do this maybe towards the end there. You're kind of waiting for the end, but sincerely, you deserve all of those comments. It's a lot of folks that came out that had wonderful things to say to you. And they're all true. And we're happy to work alongside of you. Certainly myself included in that. So thank you all.
Thanks, Brent.
Yes, hi everybody. First of all, I want to apologize to Board Member Furtish that I was not able to be there in person, and I'm part of the reason you're having to suffer through this digital hybrid meeting. I just wanted to say that as a person who's attended several commission campaign debates moderated by our fellow board member, John Paxman. I know that the commission season or the election cycle season in Lake Worth can get really heated, and I'm afraid for our project to get caught up in it because it really doesn't deserve that kind of negative attention. It seemed like in that email, and who else was copied on that email, that was the intention. And one of the things I'm really grateful for this board is we don't get twisted up in a lot of those little political debates, and the focus is always on economic development and really community outreach. And that's my biggest credit to Joan, is the food drive, the donations, the coordination with Commissioner Maxwell for the Thanksgiving giveaway, the Intercity Innovators Partnership. I mean, these things are beyond really the scope and the ask that we have for the position. And I'm just proud that we aren't just making things like the mid happen, but we're also doing things for those in need. So as everyone else said, I'm glad we're staying on this track, and I hope we can keep pushing through despite any headwinds that may come on these projects.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Brent. This is Brendan Lynch. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your time and doing all the good work that we do on the CRA. Joan, so glad to continue to work with you. You're so impressive, and I'm just glad to be able to work with you and keep moving forward, keep making Lake Worth Beach better. So thank you, and take a motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry, David Tulsis, please.
Just briefly, I just want to remind the board that we are still waiting for a decision in the lawsuit that was filed against the city and the CRA with the L&M Street properties. So we are mindful of that as well. And I would also like to thank Joan for the ability to have been able to work with her and to continue to work with her. She's wonderful. And I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you, David. I'll take a motion to adjourn, please. Second?
Yeah.
All those in favor, state so by saying aye.
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 Okay, everybody have a good night. Thank you.